I had a very interesting experience about 5 or 6 years ago. I had to get the equivalent of AAA to come out to get my car started. This very taciturn Australian who turned up here to put a new battery in for me asked what I did. I told him I was a Roman archaeologist. He thought about it for a moment and said, "What do we need one of those for?" As a Romanist, I began my research in the Middle East by focusing exclusively on Roman things, and in particular the Roman military. Gradually you get drawn into looking at other kinds of sites, the villages, the towns, the road systems, and once you get out into the desert areas where you wouldn't expect to find much at all, they are absolutely littered with archaeological sites, and we're now discovering that exactly the same is the case in Saudi Arabia. Archaeology was transformed in the 19th century, first of all with the balloon. About the same time, the other development took place, namely the camera. The major breakthrough came with the aeroplane. And then helicopters begin to come into use towards the end of the Second World War, and they start to be used for archaeological purposes after it. As soon as you get up a few hundred feet, it all comes into focus. You can suddenly see the shape of what it is you've been looking at. It's so exciting, that we're constantly sort of nudging each other to, look, there's another one over there, and there's another one beyond that. But if you look beyond Jordan, you find that none of its neighbours allows aerial archaeology of the kind that we do. Very often we found we were following archaeological sites, one after another, across the desert, and we'd suddenly be told we're getting too close to the border with Saudi Arabia now. We can't go any closer. We could see the sites continue right up to the border and presumably beyond it, but we weren't allowed to fly there. But we can now, to some extent at least, look over the border into Saudi Arabia. Google Earth allows us to do that now. The process by which we can use Google Earth to study landscapes in Saudi Arabia, we zoom in on an area and then slowly scroll from the top down to the bottom. Move across 400 metres and move your way back north again. Reach the top, move 400 metres and down. Much the way that the pilots were doing back in the 1920s. Now I'm in a much more privileged position, that I can sit here in my office and search Saudi Arabia. It's such exciting work, looking at areas that nobody's been to before, that I'm scouring landscapes that nobody has studied before. Even for people who are not working in archaeology, I'm sure that curiosity drives them. It's wanting to explain and understand what it is that you're looking at and why things are the way they are.